Hey guys, Joey here. Boy, we're crushing these stretch goals. We're moving right along. I'm here with my good friend Jeff Sidek, designer of Battle Stations and Battle Stations Dirt Side and Lifeboat.
And also a huge fan of Chaosmos, so I am dying to hear about the new aliens, the new abilities, and this stuff about upgraded abilities, and I think there's a alliance power.
That's right. So let's talk real quick. I'll just knock this out about there's 3 new aliens in the Temple expansion. So there's Dreeg the Gatekeeper. Dreeg is a wormhole guy. He can, as an action, drop a new wormhole wherever he is. An A, B, or a C wormhole.
Okay.
So it's a token that goes down. He can close wormholes, he can open wormholes, and he can go through a wormhole and then close all the wormholes behind him that he just went through. So if you're chasing him, he can go through the wormhole and then close it. And then once your turn is done, he can reopen it.
Is that going to cost a hyperspace token?
No. He can also hyperspace.
Nice.
But the cool thing about the wormholes is that you can put a wormhole on a planet, put a wormhole in another planet, like put an A wormhole over here and an A wormhole over here, and now he can pick up cards from over here, put them in his hand, and then go over here and put them in a base.
Nice.
Or behind the trap or whatever. So there's all sorts of fun stuff with him. Movement is a little difficult with him. He can still move normally, and he can still hyperspace, but you kind of have to get the feel for him, so I don't recommend him as the first time you ever play the game, but he is a stupendous...
Why don't you save him for the expansion?
Okay, we've got Kaiwen the Nomad. Kaiwen is the cosmic pool alien. Every alien in the base game affects a different aspect of the game, like, dealing with flip cards, or dealing with movement, or dealing with combat. Kaiwen deals with the cosmic pool.
Okay.
Normally you can only spend a free action once per turn while you're on your home planet to trade 1 card to the cosmic pool. No problem. So if you're on another planet, the only way to trade to the cosmic pool is if you have the Smuggler Bunny in your hand, and then you can trade the Smuggler Bunny. Or if the Smuggler Bunny's in the pool, then you can trade a card from your hand for the Smuggler Bunny only. Well, Kaiwen is like, I guess he's a sapient cousin of the Smuggler Bunny, because he can trade multiple times per turn. So he still gets to trade for free, but then he can also trade for an additional action multiple times, and he can trade from anywhere. And he can spend an extra action to trade cards face down to the cosmic pool.
Oh, cool.
So now there's cards in the cosmic pool that are face down. You can scry the cosmic pool as a free action for all the cards. As a action if you have a scrying prism. But he can hide things in the cosmic pool and then pull them out later. And his upgrade power is cool. He can actually, in the middle of combat, be like, oh, remember that face down card that you thought was useless? Well, in the middle of combat, he can actually trade as his upgrade power. So the way upgrade powers work, you spend a hyper token, and then you get your upgrade power for the rest of the game. So it's a valuable thing to trade, but it's probably worth it in some cases.
All right, you said 3 new aliens. What's the third?
Third one is It the Arbiter? It is like this chickeny looking guy with these spikes. It is a very unique alien. He can ask you a yes/no question, and then he passes you a yes/no or maybe token, and then you look at the answer, and you have to answer truthfully. So he can say, do you have the ovoid in your hand, right? And if you have the ovoid in your hand, you have to answer truthfully. Or if you have the dark ovoid in your hand, I guess the answer is no. You don't have the ovoid. You have the dark ovoid, because that's the name of the card.
Right.
Let's talk about the ally abilities. So, as many of you know, there is a new thing called the Temple Clock, and events at the beginning of the game will be shuffled, and you put 3 events into the clock. Then you flip the clock over, and then when the clock hits a number, it'll be different every time because the cards have numbers on them. So this time it'll be 12, this time it'll be 13. That event is triggered, and the first thing that happens is the event is resolved. Then a Concordia happens, where that's when all alliances are broken. So if you have an alliance, it's broken, you can reform it, or you could say, you know what, now's a good time, I actually want a new ally.
Okay.
So in the expansion, you can actually win with your ally, and there's a few exceptions, but you can win with your ally. You can actually have up to 2 allies, as long as it's not all 3 of you in a row. And the way it works is when you form an alliance, you give your ally ability to your ally, and if you have 2 allies, then you have to decide between the 3 of you who gets which ally.
And then they get to snap it onto the bottom of their
Exactly.
card.
So the cool thing about the ally abilities is that not only does it give you a version, or sort of a version of your ally's power, but all the ally abilities, they sort of work in a weird synergistic way. So, for example, if I ally with a Turnic, I'm not particularly good at combat, but I am good at asking people what they have in their hands. So it says your primitive weapons are worth +1 each once per. Oh, so I can force you to fight on my behalf, which
Right.
is cool. Well, guess what? Suppose someone says, "I'm going to fight you." Is it? And I say, "Okay, actually, I'm going to have you fight my ally because he's good at combat."
Yeah.
Guess what your ability is, because your ally ability, because I gave it to you. Read this second one here.
I would, but my glasses are
Okay. Basically, I can find out what people have, and then you can, when you fight them, you can force them to play or not play certain cards. So we're sharing our abilities. Is it, by the way, was inspired heavily by the Bene Gesserit in Dune. Okay. Let me just knock out a few of these real fast, because I want to talk about what's cool about the synergies between the different aliens, because it really matters who you ally with. So Vlaklos destroys things, and he wants nobody to win. When he beats somebody in combat or when he trades to the cosmic pool, he can destroy the thing, right? If you're my ally, your ally power, your Vlaklos power says, when something gets destroyed, you may take it.
nice. So you destroy it in combat, and then I go yoink.
So I can remotely send you things all across the cosmos by destroying it, and then you get it. And there's
Can you destroy the ovoid that way?
no, if the ovoid goes to the void, then it would automatically pop up in the cosmic pool.
Okay.
That's just one of the rules. That's
But could I get it if you were sending it to the void?
yes.
Okay.
That's how that works. So let me see. Oh, I'm going to go through a couple of these that involve these sharing things. Oh, Gazme. She can beat somebody up in combat and take 2 things, right? And if she takes spoils, one of the abilities, there's multiple abilities, is she could send it to you remotely. So if something's destroyed, like if you take something from the cosmic pool, he can send it to you. If she destroys something, she can send it to you. Kaiwen, he's the cosmic pool alien. If he takes something, he can send it. Nixie deals with the void. If you take something from the void, he can send it. And Tertalja has hypertube powers, and so if he sends you a card, your ally ability involves taking hypertube cards in the void and then getting it back into your hand, and then you can use the hypertube to send things back. So there's a lot of interaction between these
Sounds
aliens.
like the flow gets a lot more fluid, that things move around more.
Oh yeah, and the other thing is that sometimes you need to communicate with somebody. Like I didn't mention this earlier, but one of Izzet's powers, his ally powers, is he doesn't trade cards remotely like some of these other aliens. He trades information. So instead of asking his enemies for information, he can have his ally use his tokens to ask him something. So it's almost like this. All the information in the game has to be above board, spoken out loud. You can't text each other. But if you're his ally, you could say, "Did you put the ovoid on that planet? Do you know where it is?" And then you get to answer, "No, help me!" Right?
Right.
So there's a lot of other cool things. I don't know how far to go with this. I like one thing.
Let's knock it out. We got four more dudes to tell me what they're.
One thing I love about Nixie is that he always has not enough actions, because it costs him an action to take cards out of the void. So he's like, I wish I had one more action. Like, he can move to a planet, but he might not have enough actions to go there and also take something out of the void. So it's like, do I take something out of the void I need, or do I go to the planet and get a mystery card?
Right.
So one of his upgrade abilities, it lets him land on planets.
Oh, nice.
Right? So he saves an action on going to planets, but it costs him a hyper token to get that upgrade ability. So I love that all these abilities, it's the same abilities you know and love, but it's just there's just more to it, and they converge in cool ways. Rune, he's fast. He goes to planets. So he's got the most landing flags on the board. So his ally, they can control planets marked with your allies, meaning Rune's landing flag, as a free action. So they save an action. He has extra actions because he moves doubly fast. He gives it's almost like giving an action to you. And then he can also use, it's the ally actually that can use any environment gear. So if you need to go to a planet and you don't have your environment gear, become friends with Rune. And his upgrade ability is once per turn he can spend an action to scry a planet marked with his landing flag. So he's seen the cosmos, but you're not allowed to write stuff down. You're not supposed to write stuff down in this game.
And you don't know if somebody sent something through a secret hypertube or
exactly. Somebody could have hypertube
out.
Exactly. So he can it's called remote celeb cam. He's like a reality star. so he can use his cameras that are hooked up on all these planets to peek and see what's going on. Dreeg has a cool thing. It's a polytoxic token, so he can actually place a toxic token on the planet he's on. He's this weird amorphous mass, so he can, if you're chasing after him, he can just like, actually it's toxic, and you're like, oh, I can't attack him without an environment gear, and then he can go through a wormhole and get out of there.
Nice.
And now you're on the planet where I left all my stuff, and now it's toxic. You're like, ah. So if you're on a planet that's toxic and you don't have environment gear, you're basically just in orbit.
Right. Become friends with Vroom.
Yeah, and then his ally ability is he could basically allow his allies to go through wormholes that he's closed. Clocknid, he has all sorts of crazy base related powers that he has. So upgrade abilities, he can secretly activate bases. So normally it costs an action, so it's the only flip card that in the base game that you have to announce. He can secretly, it's like you go to a planet, you're like, wait, what? And he's like, it's a base. He's like, what? Nice. And also he can when he's fighting bases, he also has a dice fixie thing, and then he gives an ability in a trap vault and base power to his ally. So they can take a card out of a vault without a key, or they can every time they trigger a trap, it lets Clocknid teleport. And then fighting bases, as an ally of Clocknid, the base can only fight with up to 7 cards instead of any number. Oh, the Haghuin. Okay, the last one we'll talk about. She's like a old, sad, hoarding bag lady. She lives on this planet. She's the last of her race, and she's just sort of collecting the old remnants of her past, trying to collect like nostalgic bric-a-brac. She can drop planet effect tokens. So even if you're not playing with planet effect tokens, which are tokens that sort of add environment effects, she's such a survivor. She's just survived the destruction of her race. She can drop planet effect tokens. So you have, I think, 4 or 5 planet effect tokens that sit on your sheet, and whenever she wants, she can be like, actually, this planet has a gravity well, and now I'm moving over here. Or actually, this planet is, but it'll stay for the rest of the game.
It doesn't have to be a planet she's visited, and she gets to know what all those.
Yeah, she has like a few extra tokens that she gets to keep behind her little screen. So nothing wrong with that, right?
No, it sounds cool.
All right, guys, that was a very long video, but thank you so much for watching. Very excited to show you some more components in the next video. Jeff, thank you so much for hanging out with me.
My favorite part is when I ask you a tough question and you know it because you really tested the heck out of this.
Well,
thing.
you couple times you because it's all been play tested and things have changed. Sometimes I don't know every single thing perfectly, but that's where we're at now. The game is really close to done. It's in the, I don't want to say the final playtesting stages, because I've got a lot of playtesting left to do, because there's a lot of converging powers. And actually, the guys the reviewers who did that review, Roll for Crit, they said, I had a weird question where I had my ally ability let me, it was an event that turned everything from the void and sent it to the cosmic pool. But my ability, but I'm Kaiwen, so I can trade multiple times the cosmic pool. So I used a thing that gave me 2 actions, and then the thing went to the void, and then it popped back in the cosmic pool. Does that mean I get infinite actions? And I was like, oh yeah. Oh yeah, you do.
That might need to get solved.
That'll get solved. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. I'm very excited. We'll talk soon.